Welcome to the Private Practice Startup Podcast, where we help ambitious private practitioners across the globe to brand themselves and grow their dream practices. We chat with successful private practitioners, business coaches, and marketing experts, bringing you tons of practice building ninja tips. Visit privatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and our signature marketing e-course. Here are your co-hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Startup Nation, welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. So this episode is with Matt Jean, who's an LMFT, and this is the kind of part two or the opposite end. So we actually interviewed Sarah Stroup on our podcast talking about balancing motherhood, entrepreneurship, and group practice. And today we're talking to Matt on the opposite end of fatherhood, life, and private practice, making it all work. So Matt is actually a local here in South Florida, and he actually went to our alma mater as well. He's a licensed marriage and family therapist working out of his practice in South Florida called Beachstone Counseling. He's the founder and owner of Sober Words, a business centered around assisting communities, schools, and various organizations fighting the stigma associated with substance abuse. And he was recently recognized by Haitian American Chamber of Commerce as top 20 under 40 business professionals. However, the greatest joy of his life is being a father to 4 beautiful girls, 3 of which are triplets. So welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So before we dive into your topic, if you are brand new here, we wanted to welcome you guys with open arms and welcome you to the Startup Nation super family. And for that, we want to gift you something, and that is our A to Z cheat sheet, the essentials for building and growing your dream practice. You can grab that at privatepracticestartup.com. Head over to the resources tab, and there we'll see it and download it. It also comes with 5 days of practice building emails to really support you guys on your private practice journey. And if you are a loyal listener, welcome back. Let's dive into today's topic. Matt, father of triplets, but really father of 4 daughters. My goodness.
Yes, juggling a lot. Tell us how you make it all work.
Wow. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around how we make it work as well. I think the easy answer for me is teamwork. You know, the expression teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
That's my wife and I, man. She's awesome. And she makes it easy for me to be in private practice and maneuver around all the things that I have to do. And we support each other. So we make it look easy, but it's definitely not easy.
You do. And you keep your stylish, your style looking good all the time too.
Swag. Yep.
Yeah, that's important. You know, I know in private practice, you have to create that brand, and I know I am that brand. So wherever I go, I want to reflect myself in a way that's respective of my brand. So, of course, I got to keep myself looking a particular way.
Yes, you have an authentic brand, and you do a great job of representing that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
You totally win the brand award. I always enjoy seeing you. Yeah, I always enjoy seeing you because I'm always like, that's such a cool outfit, or I love that hat, right. Or look at that. I just saw you wear bow ties often, so that's another.
Of course, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I know that there are certain areas that I go that requires me to be in a different look, and so I'm ready for all of it. I'm ready for the beach. I'm ready for the ballroom. I'm ready for the conference room, and so. But I know I just have to make sure that it's reflective of me and my personal style too. So I'm very versatile that way.
That's funny that you say that because all of a sudden I thought of like this doll, right, with like these different types of evening wear, day wear, business wear.
That's exactly what my closet looks like too.
Very
nice.
Cool.
Tell us a little bit about the ages of your girls, your daughters.
Yes. So I have 4 girls, 3 of which are triplets. The triplets, they just celebrated a birthday this summer, July 5th, and they just turned 6. And their oldest sister is 7. They're 15 months apart. And so at one point we had 4 under 2.
Wow.
That, I got chills for you. That is like amazing and crazy all at the same time.
You've got
it is.
You've got to tell us, what was it like finding out that you were having triplets?
Oh, wow. So this is an interesting story, and I enjoy sharing. So at this time when we found out, my wife and I were actually separated. We were going through a separation in our marriage, and, just a whole bunch of things was going on around that time. And when we found out that she was pregnant with triplets, I said a prayer to myself, didn't tell anybody about this, just one of those internal prayers that you would just utter. And, and I said that if this is where I need to be, this marriage, that is, then I want twins. And I didn't tell her about that prayer until we found out that we were having triplets. And she went to she went to one of the checkups by herself, and she didn't know as well. And so when she went in, the doctor told her, your babies are fine. And she's like, babies? What are you talking about? And he turned the monitor and showed her 3 different quadrants. Woo! And she freaked out. She started crying instantly. And then she started laughing and crying. And then she called me. She said, meet her at the house because, like I said, we were separated at that time. When I got there, she said, you need to have a seat. I was like, is everything okay? She said, fine. Everything is fine. So, and then she just gave me the sonogram, which I'm used to seeing a sonogram as just a piece of paper that usually have the baby on there. But this one was a little different. It had quadrants. And I'm like, is this a practical joke? Because I saw 3 quadrants. I'm like, is this a joke? She said, no, it's real. And then I saw her name, because they have the names on there now. And it said quadrant A, or baby A, baby B, and baby C. And I just burst into laughter because I was excited because I got confirmation about something that I had doubt about, which is our relationship. Yeah. And I was excited that it was also answered that I got twins, and then and 1+. So it's triplets and then an addition. And then 2 of them are identical and 1 is fraternal. So I got the twins. Wow. And I got a bonus.
Wow. What validation.
Amazing. I got chills as you were telling that, and tears in my eyes at the same time. Wow.
It's an incredible story. I mean, I honestly believe that they were a miracle, and they were the miracle that we needed to make our relationship work, because it not also brought us together. It just made us realize the importance of having a stable household and making sure we can create an environment that's suitable for kids to grow up in. And of course, being in the field, we know how, single parent homes can be hard as well. And so I'm glad that it played out this way than any other way, that I can be a father in my home to my kids as well.
What a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
I'm curious, where were you in the timeline when you got into private practice? How old were your daughters? And
so, the timeline was, I have to go back to when I was in graduate school. When I was in graduate school at Nova, I had completed my master's in 2010, and then I started the PhD program in 2011. And then at the end of my first semester, which is the fall of 2011, it was around November when I received some news that a close friend of mine, had ended his life by suicide. Mm. And so it disrupted not just my mental and emotional state, but it caused some disruption in my marriage as well, because it was compounding issues, marital issues, and then emotional issues as well. And that led, partially to our separation. And so after that, I went back to Nova for a second semester against my better judgment. I didn't do well. I had to leave the program, the PhD program, and then I left the field for about 2 years. And so I wasn't practicing at all. And then after 2 years, which was within that span, was when the triplets were born. And so, and then when I got back in the field, I finally got licensed. I think you guys had an important role to play, and not just me starting my private practice, but I think the girls were around 3 years old when I finally decided to go into private practice. And I remember contacting you guys to get the information that I needed, the private practice startup kit. And then I launched private practice because it was around the time when they were school age, and so they didn't need me to be here as frequently as I did before. And then it gave me more flexibility to adjust to their school schedule as well. And so I started the private practice around 3 years ago when they were 3, and I've been in private practice for about 3 years now.
Yeah. Awesome.
What a journey.
It's kind of fun being with you on this podcast because we didn't know these stories, and it's just really cool to kind of get to know you on a more personal level. And I love that you're sharing these things. I want to go back to that when they were all under 2. So what was life like then? And so at that time you were out of the field? Or you
yes. So this is, back in? I mean, it worked out so beautifully because, we think things, you hear the expression, things happen for a reason. And so when I was out of the field, I worked at Miami-Dade College as an outreach coordinator for a nonprofit that they work with called Single Stop. And so being an outreach coordinator allowed me to interact with individuals. I didn't do counseling, but it was sort of like a counselor, it's like more like a case manager. And then I left Miami-Dade College 6 months after they were born, and I stayed home with them for from 6 months to a year. And so, it was great because I had a chance to just be a full-time dad. My wife went back to work, and I was at home with the kids, changing diapers, getting them, bathing them, everything, you name it. It was just me at home from 6 months to a year. And so that time was really, really special for me because my kids and I, we have a really special bond. And I think that bond allowed me to be the type of father that they needed, and it helped me find, I think, a good balance between what's important. And I think that's why being in private practice allows me that same flexibility to be in their lives. I get a chance to get them ready for school. I get a chance to pick them up from school and spend some time with them after school. I get a chance to be at their events at the school. And so, it just allows me the flexibility of being in private practice, but it just brought me back to the time period when I was home with them and having that flexibility of just being there for them on a consistent basis.
One of the things that Kate and I talk a lot about is really the dream lifestyle of, being a business owner. And it sounds like you've done really well with that. And really we're excited about the opportunity to be in private practice to really create that around your life. And we talk about that, right? I know that when Kate and I first got into private practice, it was completely the opposite. We were a slave to the business and didn't have any type of, dream lifestyle or anything like that. And, I know that I had to fire myself on weekends and do a lot of working around that. But it's almost like your daughters helped you create that opportunity.
They did. And it wasn't, like I said, it's for me, I think I wouldn't be where I am right now if it were not for them, but also for the support that I get from my wife as well. She's been working full time, since the girls were about a year old. And so her working full time allowed me the flexibility to start private practice part time. And then when my private practice was doing well enough to go full time. And so, yes, it is partially to do with, making sure that I was able to have more time with my daughters, but it also it came from having a partner that is very supportive as well. It was not easy our first year, and I was away, from the home a lot, to where my first year I could remember working 6 days a week, in private practice. And now I'm at 5 days a week. And next year, God willing, I'll be going to 4 days a week. And so that's the goal, to make sure that, I'm spending more time in the household and outside of the household. And I think I've been able to do that because of the support that I get from my wife as well.
How do you arrange your schedule so that you can really be present for the girls and feel like you're able to pick them up from school and be checked in the morning? What have you found that's kind of helpful as you've built your schedule around those priorities?
So that's the transparency that I think that I have with my clients. They all share a part of understanding my narrative as well. I tell them I'm a father of 4. I tell them that my kids, what age my kids are. And so they know my schedule. They know that I'm there at the office 9 a.m. They can rely on that. And they know that I leave my office from 1 to 5. And they know that I'm available to them from 5 to 9 p.m. And so making sure that my clients understand that, they are important, but what's the first priority is my family. And so having that, open conversation and transparency with my clients allow them to respect the boundaries that I set for myself as well. And so, but yeah, by 9 o'clock, I've had the opportunity to feed my kids breakfast at home, take them to school, recite a couple mantras, motivate them in the car with some music. When they were younger, we used to dance in the parking lot before school.
I love it.
Used to dance in the parking lot before school. And then after school, I have the opportunity as well to pick them up, spend some time with them when they do their homework, assure that, they get a chance to play and spend some quality time with dad. And then on some nights, I'm able to come home early enough to see them to bed, but then we do it all over again on the next day. So and then the weekend is just for family.
That's awesome. What would you say are the biggest challenges you face with trying to balance, entrepreneurship, fatherhood, and really growing your business?
I think it's making the time to stay relevant, and that's a part of the transparency I mentioned as well. I have a type of transparency with my clients, but also with my kids. And so when I was entering into private practice, I tell them bedtime stories. And one of the stories I told them was a made up story about dad becoming an entrepreneur. So they had a chance to learn what an entrepreneur is. They had a chance to come to the office when I didn't have any furniture. They saw the entire process, and they knew that it was going to take a lot to me to get to where I wanted to be. And so as I'm outside their home, they understand that dad is working to create a business that's sustainable, that's going to be sustainable for not just right now, but something that, can be a legacy for them as well. And so they understand the process. When I'm not here, they understand where I am. They understand that I'm working. They actually have opportunities to see me speak in public when I do workshops and trainings and so forth. And so they're very invested in Beachstone Counseling and Sober Words as well. They love them some Sober Words because of the bear and the logo. So they are a part of the journey as well. And that keeps them at ease when they don't see me. They understand what I'm outside of the house doing.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and I really love the value of transparency and how you weave it into all aspects. And really, it's almost like when you're being transparent, is you're engaging people into collaborating with you and supporting you through the process. And I'm sure it also helps in those times that you don't feel so guilty as a dad, because it's like you're out here trying to do this, is because they know they're cheering you on, they're excited about it too. And then for your clients, just being transparent with them, it just shares that you're so personable and that you're a dad too, and you get it, but you're also role modeling for them, setting boundaries. So it's just, there's so much goodness and that value that you've created. I love it.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I enjoy about having my private practice is that I get a chance to teach object lessons through my life. Of course, there's a limitation. There are limits to what I, disclose to my clients, but they get the opportunity to see how I operate in my household because of some of the things that I allow myself to tell them. And one of the things is boundaries, making sure that I respect their boundaries, my time as well, and they value my time and my boundaries as well. And so I have different things in the office that allows them to know that I'm a family man. One of the first pieces of furniture I got in my office is a changing table. And I still have it in my office so that, my clients can know that, hey, my office is kid friendly. So that if they need to bring their kid, if it's an infant, they can come in with the infant. If it's a toddler, I have toys. My kids come in the office sometimes. They have toys that are stored in there. They have coloring books, it's a safe space for anyone to be in. And so having that transparency allows them to feel like this is a place where I'm welcome, my kids are welcome. And so that allows the engagement to be more authentic as well.
That's awesome. I love that. I'm just really excited that we chose you to be the guest for the Fatherhood Discussion podcast. But before we move forward, let's just take a quick break for our sponsor.
There are so many ways to keep your practice organized, but Therapy Notes is by far the best. Their easy to use, secure platform lets you not only do billing, scheduling, and progress notes, but also create a client portal to share documents and request signatures. Plus, they offer amazing unlimited phone support. So when you have a question, they're there so you can get help fast. Get started with Therapy Notes today, trusted by over 60,000 professionals. Go to therapynotes.com and enter promo code PPS, as in Private Practice Startup, and you'll get 2 months for free. Also, you can listen to episode 54, where we interviewed Brad Pliner and took an in-depth view into their EHR.
Knowing you need legal, ethical, and competent paperwork is overwhelming, time-consuming, and let's face it, expensive. We're clinicians, not lawyers. We put in 100 plus hours of work scouring through the laws and ethics and paid thousands of dollars in expensive attorney's fees so you don't have to. Save yourself time, money, and headaches. We're Kate and Katie from the Private Practice Startup, and we invite you to experience the quality of our paperwork with our HIPAA form as our gift to you. Go to privatepracticestartup.com, head over to our resources tab, and download the free HIPAA form today. You can also shop our a la carte and paperwork options under the paperwork tab. Enjoy!
Now, tell us what else makes fatherhood, private practice, and life work for you.
Wow. I think a part of it is making sure that I don't neglect myself. I'm pulled in like 50 different directions every single day. And I have to make sure that I find time for myself, and sometimes it sounds selfish when you talk about self-care, but I don't mince the two. I know that self-care is important, and I implement that in my everyday. And when I mean every day, it's in my everyday. My office is a sanctuary for me. People design their office normally for their clients, but I've designed my office for me. The colors, the theme, the aromas, the sounds that are in my office are conducive to an environment that is peaceful for me, where if I get deregulated, my office can bring me back to a center, and then my office is not too far. It's a 10-minute walk from the beach, and I frequent the beach. Like I go to the beach at least 3 times a week with my clients, by myself, and I make sure that I get some fresh air, and so all of it's a part of what I need to find balance. And then outside of the office, I make sure that I have quality time with my kids, and quality time with my wife, and making time for my friends as well. So making sure that I find balance and find time for me is very, very important to contribute to the success that I have had in the past and the success that I could potentially have in the future.
Nice. Tell us about the partnership with your wife. So you were at this place where you were separated, and now you're raising 4 girls, and you reference her often. So tell us about your guys' partnership.
Yes. So my wife is amazing. She completed her EDD and educational leadership while being a mother to 4 girls and a husband to this guy right here. So she's awesome. She currently works for Palm Beach Schools, and she's a trainer. And so a part of what she does mirrors what I do as well, because I love to do trainings and workshops and so forth. And we have worked in the past to do couples events and so forth like that. And so it's easy for us to just support each other because, our career mirror each other a little bit. And so she's involved in a lot of what I do, and I support a lot of what she does as well. She has trainings where I assist her in finding material. She created a training that she's done, I'm talking about maybe like 20 times in West Palm Beach, because it was so good. They asked her to continuously do this training as on work-life balance. And I assisted with that, of course, bringing some of the mental health components to finding work-life balance as well. So we're just a really good tandem. We help each other, we support each other, encourage each other, and we have shared goals. And so, and we plan a lot. Like I had to hide one of our planning thing behind me, but we plan a lot, and I think having a plan allows us to walk in a direction that's going to allow us to get to our destination in a easy and a more amicable fashion, because it's easy when you have that blueprint in front of you, and I think that's one of our strengths: planning and executing together.
What does that look like? Do you guys have planning sessions? I know you said you had to hide it, so I'm curious, is it like on a poster board? Yeah, let's see it.
I can show it to you. So I'm not sure if it's going to be reversed, but
it's interesting.
I don't know if you can.
It's interesting you say that because...
Is it backwards, or can you read it?
No, we can read it. It says Green Week. So Green Week from August to December 2019. Does it say goals?
Yeah, it says goals. So Green Week is something that we came up because we want, we want to increase our health, not just our mental, but we want to make sure that we're taking care of our physical health as well. And so to implement eating healthy, we created something where the kids can get involved as well. So we call it Green Week, to where at the end of every month is Green Week, and where we highlight different fruits, different vegetables, and we got the kids involved. They got a chance to pick different fruits, different vegetables that they would like to try during Green Week. And during Green Week, we're only going to try to eat green and drink healthy and do stuff like that. So it's a part of creating something that's unique to us that everyone can be involved in. And because the kids feel involved, they're more invested in it as well. And so we do a lot of that right there, because she's a trainer, like I said, and I do a lot of trainings as well. So we have these white paper, boards everywhere in the house, because we plan so much, and it helps the kids to see that if they plan accordingly too, then they could share in the success, and they can create success for themselves in the future as well.
I love it. So do you guys have like planning periods, or just kind of like this flood of ideas and say, oh, well, let's do this? Or do you say we're working on a goal?
Yeah, we have weekly meetings. Some meetings, the kids are involved. Other meetings is just us two brainstorming. And then after the meetings, if it's something that we have to, tell the kids about, we gather them and get them excited about it. And then we tell them about what's the plan. We had one for the summer. And this is for the fall. We have a couple others that we're creating. We had a meeting just the other night about events that we're planning for next year together. And so it's a lot of planning. But as we plan, we make sure that, that it's something that we could support each other if it's individual or if it's a collective that we're doing. And so, we have weekly meetings, monthly meetings, but it's all about planning and making sure that we can execute.
That's awesome. So it keeps you guys on the same page, keeps everything fresh, and it's almost like the business side of marriage. Just like if you had a team member, and like Katie and I were having weekly meetings and quarterly meetings, and we're always forward thinking, and that's what you guys are doing in your relationship, which is really cool. I also love to hear how inclusive you are in terms of like both the professional and the personal side. You've found a way to balance the two and really intertwine them in a way that's just beautiful and really works for your life. So thank you for sharing all of this with us.
Oh, definitely. Oh, it's a pleasure. I think a part of sharing this allows people to see that you can find balance. It doesn't have to be as stressful as what people make it out to be. I think finding something that you love to do and making sure that you can do that and still find the time to support your family and be there for your kids. It's not work for me. I mean, it almost feels too easy, and it's not easy because it does have a wear on me mentally and emotionally, but it just seemed like a perfect fit for me. I wouldn't feel comfortable being anywhere else. And I'm glad that I'm a part of this field, and I'm in private practice as well.
Fantastic. Ultimately, what do you want Startup Nation to take away from your message today?
Not to wait. A lot of us wait until, we find the perfect time, but I don't think there's a perfect time. A lot was going on for me when I started. And I think making sure that you create a plan and just, taking that leap of faith, because it was the leap of faith that got me to where I am right now. And so people think, okay, let me wait. No, don't wait. Just create a plan and then execute, And so that's what I want them to leave with, don't stop procrastinating, do it. If you're going to do it, create that plan and move forward with all the support that you can find.
Awesome. Matt, you were really the perfect guest for this topic. And we so appreciate just learning more about you. And, I think you're even way cooler than all the awesome fashion stuff I see. And I just love to listen to what you do and how you raise your girls and how you and your wife are a team. So we just really appreciate you sharing with us about, you personally.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, And you guys, like I said, played an important role to getting me where I am right now. So kudos to the private practice startup, the entire nation. Listen, if you guys have not checked these two young ladies out, make sure you support this great organization, because they will definitely help you get on the right track as far as your private practice. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
We're your biggest cheerleaders, cheering you on, Matt, all the way.
Yeah. And I appreciate the young word being over 40. I don't know that I get that anymore, but I appreciate that. When I was reading your accolades, it said under 40. I was like, oh man, I'm not in that category anymore.
Listen, and then that's one of those things that I love. I love the fact that I'm getting older. I was doing an assessment just really brief about my life, and I was thinking about, man, I am about to be 40. What did I do in my 20s? And then I look back, and yes, you could look at some of the things that you're not too proud of, but I look back and I'm actually pretty happy. At my 20s and my 30s, some good things are there. So I'm happy about what's going to happen for me in my 40s as well. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited.
Cool. We hope you guys join us next time as we interview Michael Knoll on how to create a private practice on a shoestring budget. So we had great conversations, and he offered a ton of resources. You're going to want to check out this show notes page for that. And I think we talked about how to create a private practice starting with just $400. So if you're on that place that you're thinking about private practice, and Matt's words to you is just do it, this will also help you get started.
Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick break for our Startup Nation superhero shout out for this episode, which is from Redesign Queen. I'm not sure who the Redesign Queen is, but they do say, as a podcast guest, I love chatting with these two awesome women. Katie and Kate are so much fun, giving, supportive, creative, and have so much integrity. I was thrilled to be asked to participate and had a blast. Keep up the awesome work. How fun that a podcast guest came and left us a review. We always love to hear from you guys because we want to make sure we're providing content that's really valuable for you. So we encourage you to subscribe, rate, and review our show, share with your colleagues, friends, and send us an email or drop us a note just to let us know how this is going for you. And if there's a particular topic that you haven't heard yet, we'd love to get that out there for you.
Thanks again, Matt and Startup Nation. We hope you have an awesome and inspired day. We'll catch you on the next podcast.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.